What I am about to tell you will go against one of the deepest beliefs Western culture has about parenting. Not just the belief, the feeling, the gut-level certainty that giving too much warmth produces a dependent child. I want you to stay with that feeling, because by the end of this video, the research is going to have done something to it. The average Western toddler has 1 to 3 tantrums per day. Japanese researchers found something different. The difference is not the toddler. Takeo Doi, Japan's most influential psychologist, spent his career studying why. His answer was one word, and that word rewrites everything Western parenting teaches about independence and defiance. And the calm down corner you set up last week, the one you're proud of, is probably the reason tonight's tantrum lasts longer, not shorter. 3 Japanese concepts explain why. Stay for the last one. A Japanese home, late afternoon. A toddler knocks over a cup. Water spreads across the tatami. The mother does not rush. She walks to the child, kneels, places a hand on their back. 2 quiet words. The child makes a frustration sound, not panic. Within 30 seconds, the child is helping clean. No tantrum arrived, not because the toddler was controlled, because the certainty never wavered. That certainty has a name. Here is the fear this video is going to trigger in most of us. If I give my toddler unconditional love and meet every need before they cry for it, I am going to raise a spoiled, entitled child. Here's what's fascinating. Japan has a precise word for spoiling, amae, and Japanese parenting specifically distinguishes it from what we are talking about today. A child who hits a limit and knows the limit is not a withdrawal of love does not need to tantrum to find out. That distinction is the entire system. It starts with one word. The first word is amae, a-ma-e. In Japanese, the character a shows a mouth with something sweet already resting on the tongue. Not asked for, not earned, already there. The second element converts the verb, to lean into love, to presume on care, into a state of being, a condition the relationship holds. Literally, sweetness already in the mouth that does not need to be requested. Love so certain it requires no negotiation. Takeo Doi discovered this concept through its absence. In 1950, visiting a home in San Francisco, he was asked, "Are you hungry? We have ice cream." He was hungry. He couldn't say so, because in Japan, a good host would have already read the guest and acted. The asking revealed the absence of presumption. He spent the rest of his career on that moment. His conclusion? The West named the absence independence, and discarded what made independence possible. Japan named the presence, Amae, and built a parenting system around it. Wait, this is not just about manners. It is about how the nervous system is wired for safety, and what happens to a toddler's brain when that safety is never in question. Here's what we do instead. We try the calm down corner because the pediatrician recommended it. We count to 3 because something has to work. We Google how to stop toddler tantrums at midnight because we are out of ideas. That is because we are treating the fire, not the fuel. The fuel was never anger. The fuel was a question. Am I still held? A nervous system asking if the connection is still there. If the answer was never in doubt, the question never becomes a fire. Japan answers the question before the toddler has to ask it. And it comes down to one question Japanese parents ask that most Western parents never think to ask. Have I answered my child's question before they needed to speak it? Think about that for a second. But once that question is answered, once the connection is certain, something else becomes possible. a state of being that most Western parents think has to be taught and cannot figure out how to teach. It is called Sunao, and it is where cooperation actually comes from. Now, let's go back to that tatami floor. The toddler who helped clean the spilled water, not because they were made to, but because the mother's presence made helping feel like the natural direction to move in. Why did the child reach for the cloth? Because they were demonstrating something called sunao, suju, sunao. Su, raw silk thread before dyeing, before weaving, the original state. What something is before transformation. Ju, straight, direct, moving without resistance, without detour. Combined, raw silk going straight. The unprocessed natural self, moving directly without the need to protect itself. Here's what's fascinating. Sunao is not obedience from fear. It is openness from security. Those are not the same thing. A child who complies because they are afraid is not Sunao. A child who cooperates because they feel completely held, because there is nothing to defend against, is. Now think about what we typically try to produce instead. We introduce consequences because compliance needs a mechanism. We redirect because defiance needs management. We never consider that the defiance might be armor, built by a nervous system that is not certain it is held. Developmental psychologists call this secure attachment, the Ainsworth Type B pattern. The most consistent predictor of emotional regulation, academic performance, and relationship quality in children's lives. It doesn't arrive through instruction. It emerges when the baseline is safe enough. Sunao is not taught. It is what remains when a child has never needed to build walls against the people who love them. But security does not make a child passive. This is where Western assumptions about Japanese parenting usually break down. When a child feels this safe, when nothing needs to be defended against, they gain the confidence to develop their own intense, sometimes stubborn, specific standards. And Japan has a word for that too. The third word is Kodawari. 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 The base character shows a hand grasping a specific defined thing and refusing to release it. Kodawari is strong, specific attachment, being caught on something precise enough to insist on. A detail, a preference, a way of doing things that cannot be compromised. Here's my honest opinion. This is the most surprising Japanese concept in early childhood. Because in Japanese adult culture, Kodawari is admirable. The sushi master with Kodawari for rice temperature. The craftsman with Kodawari for wood grain. Japan does not pathologize fixation on quality. It respects it. And then your toddler screams because the banana is broken. That child has Kodawari. They have encountered something specific enough, important enough, and their own enough to be worth fighting for. This is not irrationality wired into their nervous system. This is the earliest expression of a self with standards. The broken banana is not the problem. The broken banana is the first sentence of a self still learning to speak. Think about that for a second. Now, the one thing I told you every instinct would resist. It is Amae itself, not the concept. The daily practice of going first. Initiating the connection before the toddler signals for it. Crouching down before they pull at your sleeve. Making contact before the seeking begins. Every Western instinct says, let them come to you. Build independence. Don't hover. Here's what the research says happens when you consistently go first. The seeking stops. Not because the child needs you less, because they know you are coming. Those are very different nervous systems. Now, I want to be honest, because this matters. You have heard me mention Amae before. In the brain development video, it was the cortisol clearing mechanism. In the clingy toddler video, it was the baseline that prevents separation crisis. Today, Amae gets its full story. And if you watch the Anshin video, Amae is how Anshin is built. Every morning, before the lesson, before the day, before the question is asked. So here is your practical takeaway. Choose one moment in the day, after wake up, after nap, at dinner prep, and before your toddler signals for you, go to them. Crouch to their level. Make contact. 2 minutes, no agenda. Not teaching, not redirecting, not praising. Just, I am here, you are held, nothing has to happen. This is the smallest unit of Amae. Not the grand declaration, just, I got there before you had to ask. Here is what the research on secure attachment shows happens when you do this consistently. The child's nervous system stops operating in seeking mode. They stop scanning. They know you will come. And a nervous system that is not scanning for connection has all of its energy available for everything else. Do it every day. Same moment. Without pressure, without reward, just repetition, just presence, just trust. Give it 3 weeks. Watch what the tantrums start to say, and then watch how little they need to say it. Amae, love already present, already certain, never contingent. Sunao, the openness that grows when there is nothing left to defend against. Kodawari, the first sentence of a self with standards. These aren't Japanese secrets. They are human truths, and they are available to every parent, starting today. Amae does not produce dependent children. It produces children who learn that love is not contingent. And a child who knows love is not contingent has nothing left to fight for. If this video gave you something to think about, share it with another parent who needs to hear it. And if you want more on what the research actually says about toddler development, the evidence most parenting books never mention, subscribe. There is a lot more coming. See you in the next one.